Good morning. Today we're going to listen to A Bad Case of the Stripes by David Shannon. You're going to need a piece of paper, a pencil, and some crayons so you can draw your visualizations when we stop and think. A Bad Case of the Stripes, David Shannon. Camilla Cream loved lima beans, but she never ate them. All of her friends hated lima beans, and she wanted to fit in. Camilla was always worried about what other people thought of her. Today, she was fretting even more than usual. It was the first day of school, and she couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people to impress. She tried on 42 outfits. Can you believe that? But none seemed quite right. She put on a pretty red dress and looked in the mirror. Then she screamed. What do you think she saw? Her mother ran into the room and she screamed too. "Oh my heavens," she cried. "You're completely covered with stripes." This was certainly true. Camilla was striped from head to toe. She looked like a rainbow. Mrs. Cream felt Camilla's forehead. "Do you feel all right?" she asked. "I feel fine," Camilla answered. "But just look at me." "You get back in bed this instant," her mother ordered. "You're not going to school today." Camilla was relieved. She didn't want to miss the first day of school, but she was afraid of what the other kids would say, and she had no idea what to wear with those crazy stripes. That afternoon, Dr. Bumble came to examine Camilla. "Most extraordinary," he exclaimed. "I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncontrollable twitching?" "No," Camilla told him. "I feel fine." "Well then," Dr. Bumble said, turning to Mrs. Cream, "I don't see any reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment that should help clear up those stripes in a few days. If it doesn't, you know where to reach me." And off he went. The next day was a disaster. Everyone at school laughed at Camilla. They called her Camilla Crayon, a knight of the living lollipop. She tried her best to act as if everything were normal, but when the class said the Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in stars. So now I want you to stop and think and visualize. What do you think she looks like now? Draw a picture of what you see inside your head of what she looks like as her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in stars. Push pause now. Draw your visualization, and then press play when you're ready to listen to the story again. Okay, now you've drawn your visualization. Let's see what happens next. The other kids thought this was great. One yelled out, "Let's see some purple polka dots." Sure enough, Camilla turned all purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted, "Checkerboard!" and a pattern of squares covered her skin. Soon everyone was calling out different shapes and colors, and poor Camilla was changing faster than you can change channels on a TV. Look at her now. That night, Mr. Harms, the school principal, called. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Cream," he said. "I'm going to have to ask you to keep Camilla home from school. She's just too much of a distraction, and I've been getting calls from other parents. They're afraid those stripes are contagious. Contagious means that someone else might get them." Camilla was so embarrassed. She couldn't believe that 2 days ago everyone liked her. Now nobody wanted to be in the same room with her. Her father tried to make her feel better. "Is there anything I can get you, sweetheart?" he asked. "No, thank you," sighed Camilla. What she really wanted was a nice plate of lima beans. She had been laughed at enough for one day. Poor Camilla. Well, yes, I see," Dr. Bumble mumbled when Mr. Cream phoned the next day. "I think I'd better get in the specialists. We'll be right over." About an hour later, Dr. Bumble arrived with 4 people in long white coats. He introduced them to the Creams. "This is Dr. Grop, Dr. Sponge, Dr. Cricket, and Dr. Young." Then the specialists went to work on Camilla. They squeezed and jabbed, tapped and tested. It was very uncomfortable. "Well, it's not the mumps," concluded Dr. Grop. "Or the measles," said Dr. Sponge. "Definitely not chicken pox," put in Dr. Cricket. "Or sunburn," said Dr. Young. "Try these," said the specialist. They each handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. Boy, she's having to take lots of medicine. "Take one each before bed," said Dr. Grope. Then they filled out the front door, followed by Dr. Bumble. Oops, I made a mistake. I better go back and fix it. They couldn't fill out the door. They filed out the front door, followed by Dr. Bumble. That night, Camilla took her medicine. It was awful. When she woke up the next morning, she did feel different. But when she got dressed, her clothes didn't fit right. She looked in the mirror, and there, staring back at her, was a giant, multicolored pill with her face on it. Oh my goodness, poor Camilla. I want you to stop and think and visualize. What do you think she looks like now as a giant pill? Get out your paper and your crayons and draw a picture of what you're seeing in your head. Push pause, and when you're finished with your drawing, press play to continue. Dr. Bumble rushed over as soon as Mrs. Cream called. But this time, instead of the specialists, he brought the experts. Dr. Gourd, Mr. Mellon, and Mr. Mellon were the finest scientific minds in the land. Once again, Camilla was poked and prodded, like this, poked and prodded, looked at and listened to. The experts wrote down lots of numbers. Then they huddled together and whispered. Dr. Gourd finally spoke. "It might be a virus," he announced with authority. Suddenly, fuzzy, little virus balls appeared all over Camilla. "Or possibly some form of bacteria," said Mr. Mellon. "Out popped squiggly little bacteria tails. Or it could be a fungus. Oh no, I wonder what's going to pop out now," added Dr. Gourd. Instantly, Camilla was covered with different colored fungus blotches. The experts looked at Camilla, then at each other. "We need to go over these numbers again back at the lab," Dr. Gourd explained. "We'll call you when we know something." But the experts didn't have a clue, much less a cure. Poor Camilla, they just don't know What's wrong with her? My goodness, look at all those fungus and bacteria, viruses. Oh dear, I wonder what they'll do. How will they solve this problem? By now, the TV news had found out about Camilla. Reporters from every channel were outside her house, telling the story of the bizarre case of the incredible changing kid. Soon, a huge crowd was camped out on the front lawn. This is making me think about how Camilla is always worried about what people think of her. And now all these reporters are there and she'll be on the news. I wonder what people will think now, and I wonder what Camilla will think. The creams were swamped with all kinds of remedies from psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, an old medicine man, a guru, and even a veterinarian. A veterinarian is an animal doctor. Each so-called cure only added to poor Camilla's strange appearance until it was hard to even recognize her. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but nothing worked. So now I want you to stop again and draw your visualization. What do you see? What do you think Camilla looks like now after all of these doctors have seen her? We're going to stop here, and you can push stop, and we'll enjoy the rest of this story tomorrow. Have fun on the rest of Virtual Day, and I look forward to seeing all of your work tomorrow. Bye.